Hello, planet Earth. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill, 730. I'm Prestonella Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations, you've made your way to the Buffington Post. Today we are going to take a break from Buffy and we're going to review Joss Whedon's newest feature, Avengers, Age of Ultron.
I can't do this all on my own. I know that I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman.
Alright, so Avengers, Age of Ultron stars Hugh Jackman and Kate Mara as Wolverine and the Invisible Woman as they traverse an alternate... Wait, no. Avengers Age of Ultron stars Blake Lively, a woman with the incredible power to never age, of Ultron. No, that's not right either. Sorry everybody, I was exposed to nuclear radiation for a long period of time. I'm not a mutant or an inhuman, just radiation, I guess. Right, so Avengers Age of Ultron stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, and some other folks as we delve into something that is not the comic book Age of Ultron at all. Why is this called Age of Ultron? Let's talk about the title. It doesn't follow the comic book Age of Ultron. This has really nothing to do with Ultron. By this point in the story in the comic book, Ultron's been established. It's not like we're creating him for the first time. He's actually remote controlling Vision from the future. Crazy. So, yeah. I don't get the title. I don't know why it's not called Avengers Ultron's Vision or Avengers Vision of Ultron. Just seems like that would make more sense. But anyway, so this is all about fear and how you handle your fears, what your fears are, and what you will do, what fear will cause you to do. So, yeah, you've got characters like Tony and Bruce, and Tony realizes that, like, this is not great. They can't just do this forever, and he and Bruce Banner both have legitimate fears. Tony is afraid that they're all going to get killed doing this, and he would like to, ride off in the sunset with Pepper one of these days, and then Bruce, he doesn't want to have to be the Hulk. The Hulk is something that he can't control. He's afraid not only of hulking out, but he's afraid of the Hulk himself. It's about being afraid of yourself, but where I understand that Hulk is like pure id, but the Hulk is not Bruce Banner. He doesn't retain his faculties, all of them, all the time. And so this is a problem for him, and it's genuinely fearsome. And this is why they make the decisions to do what they do. They act out of fear. So you've got Natasha and Cap, and they don't really fear anything. I mean, both of these characters are so far removed from reality that I feel like they don't look at the world except in these very black and white shades. Natasha, of course, she's not black and white, but at the same time, when you look at her and you look at Captain America, they're so, like I said, removed from day-to-day life. They don't really have anything that grounds them in the world. And so this is a problem for them. And they are good fighters, but what are they fighting for? You know what I mean? They don't really have anything concrete. Captain America has this outdated idea of what America is and should be, and maybe it's outdated, maybe it's true, but whatever. And then you've got Natasha, whose allegiances pretty much lie wherever she wills them to. And so, like I said, neither of these characters have any kind of legitimate fear because they're not invested in anything. Now, Hawkeye, on the other hand, I did enjoy Hawkeye a lot more than I think anybody has in any of the previous movies. They gave him something to fight for. They gave him legitimate fears of, humanity. He has a family. He has this little chunk of life that he can call his own, and that's what he's in this for. That's what he's afraid of losing. And so him being in the mix with all of these other characters, everybody's got their grandiose things or their super removed things, and then there's Hawkeye right in the middle of this fight, and he says, I'm the little man that we're fighting for, me and my family. That's what I'm about, and that's whose safety I fear for. And so Thor, his fears are, of course, all wrapped up in himself, right? Like, he's just afraid that he's left his world behind and that it's just going to fall into chaos, that something isn't right with the way that he left it. And the interesting thing about when we see his fears, it's like Scarlet Witch. Okay, this is one of the things that bothered me at first about the movie. It's like Scarlet Witch was showing them things that weren't necessarily real. You know what I mean? Like, she was trying to mess with their minds. And so with Thor, I think because he's a god and his body chemistry really isn't like ours at all, that her power didn't quite work on him and showed him things that were legitimately threatening and out there. And that would explain why he had to go and decipher these visions for himself. And Vision is what they all fear. They all fear Ultron's vision. And he is kind of beyond fear. He, like Ultron, is beyond fear. And rather than fear Ultron, he fears for humanity. He wants life. He doesn't fear death. He just approves of life. And so this Vision character, I like that he is Ultron's vision. This is what Ultron wants to be. This is how he views himself. Or I guess more accurately, it. Ultron's not a he. And I do want to say that I know a lot of people have been complaining about Ultron and how quickly Ultron just up and became evil, but the whole idea is that he's a computer and he would, take all of this information into account really quickly and decide what to do. I mean, it's a computer system, so I don't think that Ultron having suddenly become, evil is out of the question. I don't think it needs way too much exploration. But it still kind of ascribes to humanity. This is all that Ultron understands. He's completely wrapped up in being human or not being human. He says, I have no strings, but he does. He's got Tony's heartstrings down there, and they're all fucked up and perverse, but they are human strings that animate him. And then you've got Scarlet Witch, who, much like Bruce Banner, kind of fears herself. She kind of sees Tony Stark as a monster that creates other monsters, and so she's not very comfortable with herself. And I love the nut up speech that Hawkeye gives to her. And the moment where Quicksilver dies and her just, the awfulness of it, I like that she could feel that. I thought that was a neat little twin moment, and it could have something to do with her powers in general, but it was a nice little moment that she would know when Quicksilver died. And Quicksilver, what does he fear? I don't know. He died. Next. So, yeah, I talked about the mind control and the fear-inducing and why. I just think that Thor is kind of special, and that's why his shit was all different. And Hawkeye, like I said, I really enjoyed Hawkeye. I liked him being in the thick of it. I liked Linda Cardellini's portrayal of his wife. I thought she was really funny. I loved everything at the farm, pretty much. These little character moments are what Joss is all about. He loves to just take a break and enjoy the moment, let you sit with these characters and just have them soak each other in and deal with one another. I really liked that. The funniest part to me really was in the beginning of the movie when they're asking Cho if she's going to go to this party, and she says, no, not really. And then she says, will Thor be there? And I laughed aloud. I went to a very small screening. I don't like to be talking to people while I'm watching movies, because I'm one of those people. I like to talk during the theater. So I went when nobody was there, and there were like 9 people in the theater. And when that joke came out, it was only like me and the chick behind me laughing, but we were just taken with it, because I knew my sister would be asking the same thing. Is Thor going to be there? Right. So I also really liked when Natasha and Bruce were talking, and he comes up to her and he's like, how'd a nice gal like you end up working in a joint like this? And she goes, oh, a fella done me wrong. It was really funny. I love the character chemistry with Brutasha. And this whole relationship, I've seen people say, oh, they didn't like it or they really liked it. I thought it was fine. it has to do with both of these. Natasha doesn't, like I said, have anything that she's invested in, and we see her in this movie really wanting to invest in this with Bruce, and she wants him to trust her, and she wants to be able to trust him. And at the end of the day, he doesn't trust himself so much that he can't let her trust him because, like I said, he can't do that for himself. And this relationship and the whole, lullaby thing that they did, it was cute and it had its moments. And I feel like when we see that she's all alone after the Hulk flies off into wherever, I felt like, okay, this is better for Black Widow. I think having these things that she can't have makes her a more interesting character. And I know that sounds kind of sexist, but I like it. As for the Hulk himself, there wasn't a whole lot in this movie with the Hulk. The Hulkbuster scene, that's when I decided to go to the bathroom because, hey, I had to go, and I knew that this was going to be 5 minutes of fighting, and I came back, and sure enough, they were still fighting, and I got there just in time for go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, which was great. Yeah, there's some other great stuff in this movie. You should definitely check it out. It's not perfect, but it's definitely not as bad as I thought it would be. As for Vision, I know that people have been talking about, do you think Ultron's out there? I think that when Vision destroyed Ultron, that Ultron kind of went into Vision because, Age of Ultron is all about Ultron remotely controlling Vision from the future. And I think that, yeah, eventually we're going to find out that Ultron's something or other got into Vision when Vision destroyed him. And maybe, Ultron will come back after the Infinity War. So I'm interested to see how that goes at least. I'm not a big fan of the Marvel movies. I kind of hated Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I said before, it was like watching somebody else play a video game. And that's not what a movie should be. This movie had a lot of great moments where, you just had the characters going at it, going at each other, and then having a laugh right in the middle of it all. I hope you're having a great 2015 so far. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime for Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, my continued Season 8 coverage. I've got Game of Thrones weekly episode reviews, and more. I'm Preston L. Young, and you can like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, question. Leave your thoughts on the movie down below. Let me know what you thought, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
I can't do this all on my own. I know that I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman.